Hello boys and girls, as you know I did a lot of PTR testing and I run a lot of N+ dungeons both on my Shaman and my Paladin, and now I'm going to give you some feedback on what are my first impressions playing Restoration Shaman in the new dungeons using the new 4-piece tier set bonus. Now let's start with the bonus straight away because this is one of the most important things this season. It's going to change your playstyle from ground up. As you probably already know, they're implementing changes where they're buffing the single target healing spells of every healer and they're kinda nerfing the AoE spam that we had for Season 2. As a result, even without the tier set bonus, pressing chain heal basically feels like farting right now. So you will probably end up dropping all the chain heal talents and focus your resources in different places. And this is where the 4-piece tier set bonus comes into play. I actually have a separate video talking about this one, but it forces you to spread your Riptides and then cast healing surges or healing waves on people to get benefit from the tidal reservoir that is basically the main mechanic of this set. It is also buffing your Riptides healing and it's spreading it automatically for yourself. So the TLDR here is, if you're a fan of the chain heal style that we had in Season 2, Season 3 is definitely not going to be for you because you're not going to be casting the spell, you'll be focusing on Riptides, healing surges and healing waves entirely. In N+, you have absolutely no problem keeping Riptides active on all 5 members of your group at all times, so you basically spend the rest of your time spot healing with Healing Surge because it's quite fast and it crits a lot, and then keeping Healing Rain up. This is actually mostly fine, it doesn't feel bad, and I actually enjoy the playstyle more than I thought I would, but the big minus of this playstyle is when there is a heavy AoE damage that damages everybody in your party at the same time, you kinda start to fall behind trying to spam healing surges and top everybody up. Now at this point, pressing chain heal doesn't make sense as I already explained, so you're basically left to count on your other cooldowns, which are basically Ancestral Guidance, Ascendance, Healing Tide Totem and then Spirit Link. So as long as you have a big cooldown to spare in those big AoE moments, then you're actually fine, but you still have to keep in mind that you're not a paladin and you won't have a button to press for every single moment of the dungeon because you only have 3 or 4. If we talk about numbers, then your main healing is going to come from healing surges and Riptides. They're going to do more than 50, maybe like 60 or 70% even of your total healing in the dungeon. Ancestral Awakening is a talent that shines in this build because every time you crit with Surge or Riptide, it will heal somebody in your party and it picks somebody who is low, so that's actually great. And the Tidal Reservoir itself, it does about 6-7% of your total healing in N+. It could go up to like maybe 10, 11, 12 if you're really focused on spreading it. But overall the tier set bonus does not shine that much in N+, because you don't basically need to spread Riptides, you have them easily ticking on everybody at all times, and the healing contribution is not that big when it comes to the Tidal Reservoir, although the buff to the Riptide is quite nice because this is a button that you can very reliably press right now to heal somebody up even without spamming Healing Surge on them after that. Adding the fact that the tier set bonus has no DPS contribution whatsoever, that makes it not ideal for N+, but at least with all the other changes that they implemented with the single target healing, it kinda complements the playstyle that you're going to be having. So I think that from this perspective the Shaman will be quite okay in N+ healing. Although I must say that there are better options out there, the Paladin still outperforms the Shaman, I'm pretty sure. And also from all the dungeons that I run, I saw quite a few diseases every here and there, and not so many curses, so that's another disadvantage that you're going to have as a Shaman, which basically happens every season. And keep in mind that there's also 2 more dungeons that we haven't tested, the Everbloom and the Tides place, and they kinda sound to me like a place where you'd see more diseases rather than curses. So that stupidity that Blizzard is trying to push with diversity is probably going to push you very far from the meta just because you won't be able to handle some of the mechanics that these dungeons are going to have. Things get quite interesting when we start talking about the raid. I didn't get to test any raid bosses, but your tier set bonus is actually going to shine there because you have more than 5 targets to spread the Riptides. And if you manage to reach a point where they automatically start spreading around because you have too many out and ticking, then you get exponentially more value from your tier set compared to an N+, where you only have 5 targets. Now the playstyle in Raid is also going to change. You still have to spread the Riptides as before, but now you will be basically casting probably Healing Wave in between the Riptides, just so you can get benefit from the Tidal Reservoir. That also means that we'll probably be stacking haste for the raid for several reasons. First, you want to cast the healing wave faster, of course, but then the haste also improves the tick rate of your Riptides, which makes them heal for more often, and it gives them better chances to spread to different people. That means that with enough haste, you can basically reach a critical mass where the Riptides will be spreading by themselves and you have them ticking on everybody in your raid. You still probably have to cast the spell just to get the Tidal Waves buff, so your healing waves are quicker. But the potential there is humongous, and we'll see how the tuning goes, but I'm getting a word that the 10% chance to spread on the Riptide might be actually very high, and you'll be able to achieve that critical mass very easily in raid. So at this point, only time will show if this is correct or not and what's going to happen when we get closer to the release of 10.2. Let me also mention that in M+, you probably won't be stacking that much haste, simply because you can easily spread the Riptides there and you can hit the cap of 5 Riptides sticking pretty quickly. And the crit there is actually going to be quite significant, so you can get more healing from Ancestral Awakening, which at the end of the day often does even more healing than the Tidal Reservoir buff from your tier set piece bonus. Let me also mention something else that made a big impression on me. As a shaman, you have to basically stand and cast your heals, and there were a lot of fights, mini bosses and bosses where there are pushbacks, where there are swirlies on the ground that you have to move and avoid. And although the Riptides are very powerful now and you can cast them on the run, it didn't feel fair compared to a Paladin who can just run around and spam Holy Shocks and Words of Glories, basically with no downtime, until the Shaman only has 2 Riptides. Once you cast those, then you're kinda screwed. In fact, in some of the dungeons I had to move so much that we can even probably consider taking the improved Spirit Walker's Grace talent in place of the Mana Spring Totem, which is also nerfed, so it doesn't do much, I don't think so. So I can easily see a world where we replace that talent with the ability to move and cast 30 seconds more often than usual. So those are my first impressions. Everything of course is subject to change. We're going to find out more things as the patch approaches. We're going to probably see a lot of tuning and a lot of changes, including the tier set. But for now, it probably is going to be very good in raid. And for M+, I'm actually not optimist. Definitely it's not going to be meta. It doesn't have a damage component. It's far from optimal because you only have 5 targets to spread the Riptides to. And everything aside, the Shaman just doesn't have the utility, for example, that the Holy Paladin has. So yeah, I'm actually happy with the changes whatsoever. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play in M+. Definitely not meta, but definitely playable, and you can push as high keys as you would like as a Shaman. And depending on the tuning, it might actually be king in the raid. We'll wait and see, but if you're considering the class, I definitely recommend it. Let me know what are your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll have a similar video for the Holy Paladin that I also managed to play a little bit on the PTR, so stay tuned for that. Until then, happy healing and take care.